Greetings and welcome back to my channel for another video. This video is breaking news and an update to the mass incident that occurred at Morgan State University. Before I continue, let me present the Fair Use Act disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, which states allowance is made for fair use of copyrighted material for purposes of commentary, criticism, news reporting, research, education, teaching, and/or scholarship. It provides for the legal, non-licensed citation and/or incorporation of copyrighted material by others which might be infringing under other circumstances. And next we have my viewer discretion disclaimer. The following broadcast contains mature themes and situations intended for adults. Viewer discretion is advised. So, without further delay, let's continue on with this story. B, PD, B, as in boy, P as in Paul, D as in David. Baltimore Police Department announces arrest in the mass incident at Morgan State University. Now, this story was updated on October the 13th, which was yesterday, Friday for many of us, in reference to the mass incident, including weapons that occurred on the campus of Morgan State University. And according to reports, the individual arrested was 17 years old, and the arrest was effected in Washington, D.C. The juvenile, according to reports, was taken into custody on October the 12th, which was Thursday, without incident. He will be taken and transported to Central Booking Intake Facility, where he has, operative word, has been charged with multiple counts of attempted deletion. I'm ad-libbing words. Northeast District detectives work closely with DC Metro Police and federal law enforcement agencies and were able to identify and locate the perpetrators from video obtained during the incident. Addition to this arrest, there is a warrant for 18-year-old Javon Williams in connection to this incident. Williams is considered armed and dangerous, and it has been requested that anyone with information, or if they contact or become in contact with Williams, to please call 911. Further, Baltimore Police Department has been working tirelessly on this investigation into this incident, and they're very grateful that many partners that assisted them in identifying and capturing one of the suspects. Again, one. As I mentioned earlier, there is a warrant for a second suspect, 18-year-old Javon Williams. This information can be found on Baltimore Police And as I always mention, please always do your own independent research because news reports can change. Either information can be reported early before all the details were given, or more information can be added. So, to be prudent and responsible, always, always, always do your research and be as thorough as possible. According to Commissioner Richard Worley, we will not rest until Williams is in custody. While this arrest cannot undo the damage and trauma, those are key elements here. Damage and trauma it caused that day. It is my hope that it can bring some peace and justice to the victims, the Morgan State University community, and our city. Thank you to the Baltimore Police Department detectives on their tireless work to identify and arrest this suspect, and I know they will not rest until the other perpetrator is brought to justice. I hope their efforts bring some solace to the victims in this horrible event. The entire Morgan State University community, Baltimoreans across the city, said Mayor Brandon M. Scott. Now keep in mind, maybe a month or so ago, there was another incident that occurred on the streets of Baltimore, which was considered mass, and people were deleted. It took some time. However, those suspects were apprehended as well. Brandon Scott, mayor, maybe one of the youngest mayors, is very passionate to reduce and end weapons violence by removing illegal weapons and the people who use them off of our streets, while pursuing a comprehensive public health informed violence reduction strategy. However, despite these grassroots campaigns, it continues to be clear that the tackling of this epidemic of violence in our country is going to require significant national action to address the proliferation of weapons in our community, particularly those in the hands of people who should not have access to them. ATF, which is the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, Baltimore Police Department, and other law enforcement partners have worked relentlessly ever since day one at the incident at Morgan State to identify the persons responsible for this brazen crime. We are a team in this fight against violence in Baltimore. The community is also a part of this team, providing crucial context and information that can solve crimes and save lives as law enforcement continues to investigate and search for this fugitive. Again, Williams is being sought and is considered armed and dangerous. It is their belief that the community and thousands of eyes and ears are open. Again, anyone with any additional information pertaining to this incident is asked to contact Northeast District Detectives by dialing 911 or area code 410-396-2444. It's sad and heartbreaking that a 17-year-old was responsible for this. And keep in mind, the arrest was effectuated in Washington, D.C. Those of you that heard me when I did my first video on this, I mentioned how Bowie State and also Morgan State, for all intents and purposes, isn't that far away from Howard University, which is also in Washington, D.C. Now, I am not speculating whatsoever that there are any connections at all, but I do know this is homecoming season in Howard. For years, this has been one of the highlights during this time of year with all of the homecoming festivities. Now, I'll go into further detail about some of the research that I've done in reference to the incident, which was considered mass at Morgan State. Anything that involves 4 victims or more is considered a mass incident. Less than a week later, there was another round of attacks, this time occurring on the campus of Bowie State University, both of which are HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities. Again, Howard University is also considered an HBCU. Any connections, any correlations? That is up for the investigators and detectives assigned to this case. Many can speculate, but it is up to the investigators to put the pieces together. I mentioned I would be very surprised and concerned if an incident were to occur at Howard. You never know motives. Could be isolated events. It could be many things. That is why I'm not going to speculate. However, from my optics, I just find certain situations a bit more, I'll just use the word bizarre, especially when it comes to timing and close proximity of where these incidents occur. Not only that, the ages of the perpetrators. Now, one of the stories mentioned that they have not considered this as a hate crime. Now, many people may say, well, these are historically Black colleges and universities, and the perpetrators, as far as we can see, are also African American. But keep in mind when you're dealing with groups, and there is a myriad of groups out there that you may not feel as though they're radical, they quite possibly could be. Again, this is something that I am not going to go into deeply at this time. This is just an update that one arrest has been made in reference to the mass incident occurring on the campus of Morgan State University, and the first suspect has been arrested, 17 years old, and the arrest took place in Washington, D.C. There is a second perpetrator who is still at large. I'm going to present this quick video that briefly summarizes all of what I just mentioned. Again, this is courtesy of YouTube, where the police arrested a teen in reference to the incident at Morgan State University. Fair use. So again, that was a quick video in reference to the information I've provided. It's a quick summary in reference to the arrest, and you saw the photo of the second suspect, according to reports, that is still at large. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure, if you have not already, if you like this video, please make sure that you hit the like button, but more importantly, share this information. Could prove to save others, perhaps, and aid law enforcement and innocent citizens. Until next time, you all take care of yourselves and each other.